Well, hello, and welcome to another very special edition of Android Faithful. We're your weekly source for Android news, hardware, apps, general discussion, and of course, this week coverage of Made by Google. I'm Ron Richards.
I'm Mishaal Rahman.
And I'm Florence Ion.
Hello, my friends. Happy Made by Google week. It's here. Happy indeed.
I'll be happy after the week is over, after the craziness has settled down.
It is a lot of work. So unfortunately, our good friends, Win is traveling, so she wasn't able to join us. And unfortunately, Jason has been struck by COVID. And so he's in bed. So everybody send Jason warm wishes. I just saw he sent a note to his AI Inside crowd that he has COVID, so there's no show. So I feel comfortable sharing that with our audience. But so Jason, feel better soon. But yes, it is Made by Google, so we did not live stream this week. We are releasing this episode 1 hour before the Made by Google live stream event. So we don't know what's going to happen when Jimmy Fallon takes the stage with the Jonas Brothers and Steph Curry and hold a Pixel 10. We'll find out.
I know. And we'll comment on it, won't we, Ron? We'll have a chance to actually comment on it. Thankfully.
We absolutely will. The big Made by Google. So yeah, so for those of you listening to this podcast as soon as it comes out, Flo and I and a very special guest are going to be live streaming our reaction to the Made by Google event. And if you didn't catch the live stream on the Daily Tech News Show Twitch or YouTube channels while it happened live, the VOD is going to be available to our patrons on Patreon as the patron Android Faithful After Hours for this week. So if you sign up for Patreon, you can get access to this week's After Hours, and you can hear us react to Jimmy Fallon live. I'm sure it's going to be amusing. You'll want to do that. And Mishaal, you're going to be covering this live as well too, right?
Yeah, I'll be covering it live on Android Authority 2, my own live reactions. Although I will say, if you want to catch the podcast and like Ron and Flo's live reaction to Made by Google event, you're probably going to want to stop listening as soon as you hear this, and then maybe because if you wait for the whole podcast to be over,
yes,
the Made by Google will have already been underway for at least.
Well, this is going to come out. This comes out exactly an hour before, so you look at your watch. Make sure you're 1 o'clock Eastern is when the live stream starts. Switch over. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get into all the details for Made by Google. We met with Google. They sat us down. We got a full briefing on everything that's been announced today. We have all the details, so we're going to go through it all to you. But real quickly, I just want to one little bit of business. Got a couple people who wrote in reaction to us talking about Patreon and ways to sign up on AndroidFaithful.com. And some folks said, it'd be really nice if you guys just had like a simple tip jar where I could just throw a couple bucks your way. And it's really appreciated. We really like people who want to do that. That's very kind of you. We actually do have that. So I wanted to make everyone aware of the fact that if you go over to AndroidFaithful.com/donate, you can just very simply donate money to Android Faithful. And we thank everybody who has done that in the past. And if you'd like to do that, you just put in any dollar amount you want, click the button donate. You can use your credit card. You can use Google Pay. You can use Klarna. You can use Cash App. You can even use Apple Pay if you want to. But that is available over at AndroidFaithful.com/donate. And so we thank everybody for their support. And your support helps us do things like cover Made by Google Live, which we're going to do because we're crazy people. And with that, should we get into the Made by Google goodness? Yeah.
Let's get into it. We'll be here all night.
Yep. All right. So Flo, why don't you take it away? What is the big news in the phone space at Made by Google? What does Google announce on the phone side of things?
What is the big news? I mean, the big news is the Pixel 10, right? The big news is the Pixel 10 family.
Yep.
We've got an array of devices that are coming out this time. Mishaal's going to walk us through the Fold in just a bit, but first let's talk about the candy bar phones, okay? I'm calling them candy bars now, by the way, because as an homage to this old way of phones before things folded. So the Pixel 10 is the economical one. It starts at $800. This is a 6.3-inch Actua display. It's been increased up to 3000 nits brightness, which a lot of people are going to really appreciate. Size and weight are pretty similar to what's going on last year. So you might not be upgrading to this quite yet, unless you want the extra things that it adds on. So granted, we do have the Tensor G5 is the new processor. It's inside. Still has has 12 gigs of RAM, like last year's Pixel 9, and it's still available with up to 256 gigabytes of storage. However, what's different this time around, in addition to the cameras that it has, so the primary 43 megapixel wide and the 13 megapixel ultra wide, there's now a telephoto lens. And this is going to be good for anybody who wishes they could just zoom in a little bit more with the Pixel 9, but they can't. And they definitely couldn't on the Pixel 8. So the Pixel 10 will allow up to 5x optical zoom, which is pretty awesome, just to have that glass in there. The front-facing camera is relatively the same. Again, $800, and it comes in a couple of different colors: obsidian, indigo, frost, and the return of lemongrass.
So this is, I mean, you guys know my hot button topic is the colors, right? So let's play this game. You've got, what is the pricing on it, by the way? What is the pricing on the Pixel 10? How much is this?
$800. So it starts at 800.
Okay, so you've got $800. You're walking into your carrier store. You're going to buy a Pixel 10, putting you both on the spot. Flo, what color are you buying?
Lemongrass.
Lemongrass, and that's the yellow, and with it, what is the accent? Yeah. What is the metal color? It's like, is that a yellow gold kind of accent color? I think, yeah.
It's like a slightly green tinge.
Slight green gold, yeah. So, Mishaal, I know you're a big case guy, but the phone exists under the case. What color what color is under your case?
Normally, I would say blue. Like I like blue as a color. Yep. But the yellow is screaming at me. That's okay. That one's talking to me.
Yep. I am 100% on Team Indigo, the blue color. That blue is fantastic. I would jump all over that blue color. I love it. So
it's not quite Pixel 1 blue.
No, it is not.
I kind of wish they would have harkened back to it to be like, hey guys, remember the first Pixel XL?
Yep. But yeah, the colors are going to be as we go through this, I'm going to both praise and criticize Google for the color choices that they did. Unfortunately, no Pank, but we'll get to that. So, okay. Yeah. So the Pixel 10 is out there. It's to be expected. It's a nice little, it's the base model, right? So
it's the base model, but now it has telephoto, which is very interesting. Now, do we want to talk about the 10 Pro? Because the 10 Pro is going to tell us all about why this Pixel 10 is just kind of sitting on the bottom there.
All right. Tell us about the 10 Pro.
Let's do it. Okay. So the Pixel 10 Pro, 10 Pro XL, kind of the same thing as last year's, the 9 and 9 Pro XL. The 9 Pro, 9 Pro XL. Guys, it's hard sometimes to keep track of all these names. But main things to know is Pixel 10 Pro is a 6.3-inch display. Pixel 10 Pro XL has the 6.8-inch display. What's interesting to know, I was looking through the specs, as you do, as one does, and their battery capacity has all been increased. So the 10 Pro has a 4,950 milliamp battery, and the 10 Pro XL has a 5,050 milliamp battery. But what I thought was really interesting is that both of them have different fast charging capabilities. So the 10 Pro actually charges 50% in half an hour versus the 10 Pro XL promises a little bit more of that in half an hour, which I thought was very interesting. Also, what they share in common with the Pixel 10, I'm so sorry I glossed over this, was the Pixelsnap wireless charging. It's basically it's basically Google's version of MagSafe. It seems this is going to be obviously exclusive to the Pixel lineup. And I thought it was interesting that the 10 Pro and the 10 Pro XL have different wireless charging speeds as well. So one charges at 15 watts and the other charges at 25 watts. It's very peculiar. It's very peculiar.
That's because the Pixel 10 Pro XL supports Qi 2.2, which is the new Qi 2 fast charging standard.
Okay.
And so why does that on the XL and not on the non-XL?
That's what I don't know.
Is it because is it bigger than not? Like,
it might require like an additional magnets or something. Some additional space required for it.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Interesting. Well, I noticed the discrepancy there. Typical spec upgrades, Tensor G5, still 16 gigs of RAM. It's a slightly brighter display. Pixel 10 Pro starts at $1,000. The 10 Pro XL starts at $1,100. So overall, hasn't really changed very much from last year. The camera system too. Oh, the camera system is the thing though. So I'm probably going to end up upgrading from my 9 Pro just because I want to have the latest phone and I don't mind paying the difference every year. But what is going to be interesting is checking out that ProRes zoom. That is the big point of the Pro. So the Pixel 10 has its own regular super res zoom, which is up to 30x digital zoom, basically, but like with Google's magic AI flare over it. And so the Pro zoom, losing sight of what all these are called, that one goes up to 100x digital zoom, which is supposed to compete with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So it's very much like, I don't think the upgrade is going to be worth it from a practicality standpoint, but I am very curious to see what Google manages at 100x.
Well, they're trying to be competitive. They're trying to be competitive, clearly, right? Like, so,
I know, but I'm very curious to see how sharp it will be. I'm very curious to see how it will compare to the S25 Ultra, which has had 3 generations to work on this.
Yep.
This digital zoom capability. So it's very interesting. I hope that it'll help with bird watching because it's a new thing I do now.
I think
I'm an elder.
I think they specifically highlighted that it's going to be working best on stationary objects and like landscapes and things like that because like it's not using the same approach. It's not using the same approach as like Samsung's, which is like as you zoom in, you zoom in, and then it's using like traditional machine learning upscaling, to like kind of sharpen things. Like Google, I think this is like the first time they said they're using an actual like generative AI. They're basically recreating things. They're using a diffusion model, they said, to basically, there's already like a debate about what is a photo. Like I think this thing.
Yeah, I know.
Is it a photo or is it the representation of the data from a photo in a new version? Yeah, that's a great question.
Like it's what the camera thinks it sees.
Yeah.
I will say, that's going to be interesting to look at because Samsung may do it slightly more optically because of what they've put in the Ultra. But I have seen the way, for instance, the OnePlus devices do kind of that AI upscaling when you zoom in. And, I obviously want to see what like King Google's going to do. I want to see how sharp it really is. I want to see what those algorithms are really, about. They got to show their face here.
Well, let's go over colors. So what colors does the 10 and the 10 XL come in?
Obsidian, Moonstone, which is a whitish. Excuse me. Moonstone is a grayish. Porcelain is a whitish. And then there is a jade, which is greenish, which is probably what I'm going to end up trading in for.
So so same question. You're walking the store with $1,000. So you go jade. Mishaal, what do you go under your case for 10 or 10 Pro or 10 XL?
Jade, the green one.
I would go Moonstone.
Hey.
I did my in our briefing with Google when we had the opportunity to meet with Google and chat about it. I took the opportunity to ask the question, why not make cooler colors for the Pro and the Pro XL?
That's right, you did.
Right, because I asked the hard-hitting questions. And I'm sure a lot of our other peers in the industry laughed. But seriously, like you take that indigo blue from the Pixel 10 and put it on, wrap it around a Pixel 10 Pro XL, and I'd be all over it. And basically, their response is that the 10 Pro and the 10 Pro XL, they're looking for a more refined palette, a more upscale kind of approach because it's a professional device in their research or whatever.
Yeah,
I think iPhone coloring.
It's stupid.
iPhone coloring.
I mean, come on. It's not like people are going to look at the Pro and like, oh, I'm a professional, so I'm going to get the Pro version.
I was going to say, I think they're underselling the power of color, or they're underestimating the power of color in the hands of people, and that I think people want vibrancy, and I bet you they're going to be surprised to see how
and
well.
Also, if the Pros wanted it, they could just get the black color, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't preclude them from offering more vibrant color options.
Exactly, and I think they're going to be surprised to see how well Moonstone and Jade do sell with these phones, because I think people are going to see Jade, and like obviously you like you guys jumped at the idea of Jade, like that's the more compelling.
I want a color though,
right?
Like I'm not. My cousin is a green girly. That's her favorite color. Mine is purple. Nobody offers that for me, which is very sad. I always end up with the pink because it's the closest thing. And I'm going to have to adopt the green, even though I'm not a green girly, but it's okay. Like life finds a way.
But I definitely think, I mean, we saw it with the Pixel 9 last year. We raved over the Pank. Pank is now curiously missing from the colorway lineup this year, which is just tragic. Is
it tragic
or did it not sell?
Evolving?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. So Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL. You highlighted the battery charging speeds as being a surprise. Flo, Mishaal, did you guys have any other surprises with these three phones, the candy bar phones, as you're looking at them? Or
there's no SIM card slot on the base, the Pro, or the XL in the US.
Dun 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 dun.
Big deal.
Yep. And we talked about that a little bit.
Really annoying.
We talked about that on the show last week, right? It's the move away from that. I've never not had a physical SIM card.
Yep.
That's going to be really annoying for me because I still deal in physical SIM. In fact, the only virtual SIM I have currently is in the iPhone unit that I've got because Apple forced me.
So let me challenge you guys. Let me play devil's advocate. Is it really a big deal? Or is this just something that we're... or is it just something that we're grasping onto?
It is not...
It's not a big deal until it is. Until you face a problem where your SIM stops working, you got to get a replacement, you got to talk to your carrier, then it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
I worry
But
about
wouldn't it be easy for a virtual SIM or an eSIM to be replaced or updated? Like, I have never worked with an eSIM in any way, shape, or form, but isn't it more of a pain in the butt to get a new physical SIM card? Wouldn't it be faster to get a virtual SIM updated or fixed or whatever that might happen?
Well, the thing is, like with a physical SIM, as long as you have that, as long as you don't lose it, you can just pop it out of one device and put it in another device and it'll just work.
Right.
With an eSIM, sometimes, if you have an issue with transferring it, for example, that doesn't work, then you got to go through talking to your carrier, customer support, and who knows how long that'll take.
Yeah.
Whereas a SIM would just work.
Right.
Or you could at least go to a physical store and deal with it. There's some physicality to it that if something goes wrong, and I think that moving away from that, it kind of sucks as a society because we've been complaining about it in other ways too. So I think that's why the eSIM, it's more of the loss of the physical culture than it is the eSIM technology.
So
if that makes sense.
Now my question coming out of that, which is an interesting follow-up either for Google or for whatever, is this something that they're doing in a vacuum or something that they're doing in partnership with the carriers, or the carriers are like, yeah, it's time, we want you to do this?
No, because overseas eSIMs are a big deal. So
right. So are
probably a response?
Are the carriers pro this move, and are they? You know what I mean? Like, is it? That's my point. Like
carriers love this because it means that they can claw in. They have exactly, they know exactly which devices. It's
right. So we'll see. We'll definitely be tracking to see what pain, and everybody, as you get if out there in the audience, if you get a Pixel 10, any of the line, and you have trouble with the eSIM, write in and let us know. We want to hear about your experiences because we're anticipating it's going to be challenging, right? So, all right. Well, anything else on the Pixel 10 candy bar phones? Any other notes?
No, I think it's time we move to some books.
All right, let's move to the foldables or foldable.
So, we've got another device in the Fold, the Pixel Fold lineup. We have the new Pixel 10 Pro Fold, which I still think is a dumb name. It should just be Pixel 10 Fold, but they got to put the Pro in there. Because it doesn't have the Pro features.
The Pro suggests that there's a non-Pro version.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
True. But it also suggests that it has all the Pro features, which it does not.
Correct.
Yeah. Something that I'll get into in a little bit when I explain all the features. So, what are some of the upgrades they've made this year? In terms of durability, they've made some pretty substantial upgrades. The Pixel 10 Pro Fold is actually the first book-style foldable with an IP68 rating. That is the first foldable with that kind of rating. The Galaxy Z Fold 7, for reference, only has an IP48 rating, which means the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is more dust-resistant, which is a huge deal in terms of durability long-term. They also has a new upgraded gearless hinge that is crafted from, quote, aerospace grade aluminum, which allows for a larger outer display with even slimmer bezels than last year, which if you've seen the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the outer display has some pretty hefty bezels. The inner display now has ultra-thin glass and a new dual-layer anti-impact film to protect it from drops. And Google says overall, this device can survive for 10 years, more than 10 years of folding 50 folds a day, which, if you do the math, comes out to about 200,000 folds in 10 years, which is not as impressive as Samsung's like 500,000 rated folding capacity or whatever they call it. But still, 200,000 folds, that should probably last you plenty of time without dying.
The 10 years thing is very interesting. It's very like, oh, when you unearth this from your device closet, it will still open and close.
I like the 50 folds a day. I have not used a book style foldable as my daily driver.
It's not.
I'd be curious if 50 folds a day is an accurate metric or not.
Most people probably don't fold that many times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I do that.
Is there an app that counts that? Because that would be good to know. I'm going to put that on my list.
There you go. You can vibe code that. You can make that app. So.
And then in terms of other features, the dimensions, they're basically unchanged from the 9 Pro Fold. Like, it is slightly narrower, and I mean slightly narrower and thinner. Like, it's 1 gram heavier than this predecessor, so like it's basically the same device. But for reference, that makes it 43 grams heavier than the Z Fold 7. So it is quite a bit heavier than Samsung's latest device. But on the other hand, it has quite a few, pros over the Z Fold 7. So it has a much larger battery. It's a 5,015 milliamp hour battery, which for reference is 365 milliamp hours bigger than in the 9 Pro Fold. It also, as Flo had mentioned earlier, it has Qi 2 support built in. Doesn't have the Qi 2.2, so it's only 15 watt charging. But the fact that this is a foldable phone with magnetic charging support is a big deal, in my opinion.
Pop socket. That's what I'm looking forward to. Don't mind me.
Yeah. 16 gigabytes of RAM, up to 1 terabyte of storage. It also has a large inner 8-inch display, super actual flex display, OLED, LTPO, yada yada. Up to 3000 nits peak brightness. The outer display is a 6.4-inch super actual display, also OLED, also up to 3000 nits peak brightness. In the camera department, it's basically unchanged from the 9 Pro Fold. You still have 48 megapixel wide angle, plus a 10.8 megapixel 5x optical zoom, plus a 10.5 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. And unlike the base Pro and the Pro XL, you don't get the 100x ProRes zoom on the Pro Fold. You still have the 20x Super Res zoom like on the base 10. And then in terms of colors, it comes in the more muted moonstone and jade colors instead of the vibrant colors you see on the base 10.
I will give them credit. I will give them credit that the color choices, the moonstone and jade as the choices as opposed to obsidian and porcelain. Mm-hmm. Good job there. Give me, a jade foldable that looks pretty. That's nice. The moonstone is a nice choice there, right? The bluish slate kind of thing. Yeah.
And last little bit of information: if you want to buy this device, it costs $17.99, same as last year, and you can pre-order it starting today, but it won't go on sale until October 9th. So you have to wait quite a bit for the device to actually reach your hands.
Yeah, and that's the big ones. The Pixel 10, the Pixel 10 Pro, and Pixel 10 Pro XL are all, you can order them today, and they're going to be available this month, right, in August, right? When are those available?
August 28th.
I think August 28th.
Right, like in less than 2 weeks, right? Next week. But the folds, you got to wait till October, which is a very long time. And we talked about those rumors on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was a week ago or so, and we were wondering if that was legit or not. And turns out it is legit. So which is wild. So what do you think? Fold upgrade? I mean, thumbs up or?
I mean, it's basically the same device, same dimensions, but a bigger battery and Qi 2. And I think that's a pretty good upgrade.
That's a plus. Yep.
Yeah.
What color do you get?
And they added the Pro's zoom, I have to say. They added the Pro's telephoto, I believe. Did I read those specs right?
I think the 9 Pro Fold also had a telephoto. It just doesn't have the 100x zoom.
Which is fine.
Well, I mean, the whole reason they call it a Pro is because it's supposed to have like the Pro features. Right?
And that is where the naming thing is a very fair.
Yeah.
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 Just call it the Pixel 10 Fold.
Yep.
It's it rolls off the tongue so much better.
Yep,
It
it does. Very cool. I'm jealous. I still want a full. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to use for my daily driver coming out of this. I use the Pixel 9 Pro coming out of the last one. I want to go to a foldable at some point. I've always been waiting. Which one is going to be the one that pulls the trigger? What is the price on this one again, Mishaal?
$17.99.
That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. That's very expensive. Yeah. So, and I do like the colors. I do like those colors. Anyway. All right. Well,
I'm on the Pro.
Well, before we touch on some of the Pixelsnap and some of those more accessories, want to highlight some of the software aspects of it, because whenever there's a Google announcement, it's not just the hardware, it's what is the stuff that goes onto the phone. We have limited stuff to talk about here, and we're probably going to go into more detail on the show next week about it. So I'm just going to do kind of quick run through on this stuff. But the biggest one is that we've talked about it. We've been talking about it for a couple of months now when they announced it right before Google I/O. But the Pixel 10 phones will be the first phones on the market with Material 3 Expressive, which is the new UI interface. Stay tuned, because very excited, because Mishaal and I had an exclusive chat with the head of UI at Android, Mindy Brooks, where we went behind the scenes about Material 3 Expressive, and that's going to be coming out as a bonus episode later this week, where we're going to go with some more detail about Material 3 Expressive. So you hear more details about that later this week. So keep an eye on your feed and over on AndroidFaithful.com for that, where you hear more about Material 3 Expressive and exactly how that works. But we're really excited about it. It's very, very cool. But some other cool stuff that's coming out of Pixel 10 as far as software-wise, an always-on display with full-screen wallpaper, which is new territory. And then we mentioned, you guys mentioned it on the camera side. There's a whole bunch of stuff that enhances the camera experience, including something called Camera Coach, which utilizes Gemini to help you guide for better framing and composition. So, whether you went to school for photography or not, it's always good to be reminded of the rule of thirds and things like that. Mm-hmm. And if you want that help, Camera Coach will do that for you. We mentioned ProRes Zoom. We also mentioned, we also know that they've had, continuing evolution of things like Best Take. They've got Auto Best Take now, which is, kind of allow you to get the best photo that you can from the photos you take. They've got Ask Photos to Edit for you, which is basically the ability to edit images in Google Photos simply by asking it. So you can tell Google Photos what edits you want to make and then watch it all happen.
We'll see about this one.
We'll see about it. As somebody who looks at my photos and I really want to edit it, but I don't have the time, it would be nice to be like, hey, can you do all this sort of stuff and then come back and see what it does?
I'm being dubious because I have been playing with the I'm feeling lucky in Google Photos, and I'm telling you, it's not, the results have not been lucky.
Yep. From a accessibility standpoint, this is really nice. They have something called Guided Frame with Descriptions. Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be something to help blind and low vision photographers. So Guided Frame now works with Gemini to describe what the camera's seeing. And it uses audio hints, visuals, and vibrations to help people who are blind or low vision take photos and feel confident and take photos independently, which is really kind of great from that accessibility standpoint, which is pretty cool. And then they've got they're working with Instagram to support low light boost. So for all you Instagram folks, that's there.
That's the new thing Yeah,
exactly. And then moving away from the photos, but on the software on the phones itself, something called Magic Queue. Right, which allows you to get information when you need it proactively in the right context. So Magic Queue will give you information when you're in a text conversation with someone or on the phone or whatever it might be. If you look at your phone, it will understand, if I'm texting Flo, I'm like, hey, let's get dinner. Where should we go? It will throw up the directions to the restaurant that we talked about earlier in the conversation. A little creepy, but also could be helpful. So we'll see. We'll see how that works. So that's going to work in chats and in calls. And actually they're working on how that can be integrated across the whole system and across search. Take a message is something that's interesting. So, Lord knows I never answer my phone. But now when I miss a call or decline a call, take a message will be able to separate calls from spam. The Pixel phone app will give real-time transcripts for missed or declined calls. So they can identify what was that missed call, and give you some more context to it. So again, give you more information about it. This one is really interesting, which I'm curious to see how it plays out. Daily Hub. I don't know if you guys looked into this or not.
It's basically Samsung's version of.
Yes. So Daily Hub is a personalized digest that shows you what's coming up in your life. So items on your calendar, relative topics related to your interests, recommended
dynamic widget.
Yeah, recommended playlists and other things like that. So it's all personalized content for you. So it welcomes you. Good morning, Mishaal. Here's the latest batch of articles you wrote yesterday.
I do hope it's a little bit better than what Samsung has going on. So that's something I'm going to be looking at because I'm very curious.
Yep.
We'll see.
And then joining the suite of Pixel apps, along with Pixel Screenshots and Pixel Studio, which have already been out in the world and we played with, they're now adding Pixel Journal. Which is a little kind of self-inspection and, way to
Apple
keep.
has it on, for iOS. So, And I think it's about time. Journal apps are very popular in the Play Store.
Exactly. So there's a ton more. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of Gemini stuff, too. So it's all going to be out there. Go look more into it. We're going to talk more about it next week when we have some actual live demos and things like that to go through.
There's one more you got to mention. Did you talk about voice translation?
Oh, did I skip that one? I did, didn't I?
That's I think that's the most mind-blowing one of all of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, you were talking about creepy ones. This is the kind of the creepiest, but also the coolest one.
Right. So if you call someone or if you speak to someone who's in a different language, the phone app will use Live Translate to enable you to talk to that someone via live translation.
It literally clones your voice and plays it back to the other side in the different language. So it's I can't speak Spanish, but it'll create a clone of my voice as if I'm speaking Spanish to the other person on the other end.
Versus a robot. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's nearly real time. Like the gap is tight, is very tight. And like, that's wild. So
very curious what 90 Day Fiancé is going to be like going forward.
Yeah. So
why don't they sponsor 90 Day Fiancé? I mean, they get constant free Google anyway.
Yep. All right. So real quickly, Mishaal, why don't you walk us through the Pixelsnap accessories?
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of accessories for the Pixel 10 series because they all support Qi 2. These accessories are compatible with MagSafe as well. So there's a lot of different magnetic accessories you can get for your Pixel device. But if you want specifically accessories that are made by Google, these include the Pixelsnap charger, which is basically a simple puck that attaches to the back of the device. This costs $39.99, and you can connect to any USB-C power adapter, and it'll support Qi 2 charging speeds or Qi 2.2 charging speeds. You have the 10 Pro XL. Then you have the Pixelsnap charger with a stand, which is basically a puck that holds your phone upright. So it's a $69.99 dock, and it holds your device in either portrait or landscape mode, so you can watch videos, check notifications, show your screensaver or slideshows, etc.
Now I'm a sucker for a stand. I love this thing. I don't know. I was just so stupid, but I absolutely love it. I think it looks beautiful.
It's been great using it on the iPhone. I see why it is.
Yeah, basically turns your phone into a little mini Nest Hub.
I have it totally does when it's in landscape mode, or if you the example that that we are here showing on the screen for our video viewers, for audio listeners, the fold when opened becomes a square screen that is almost as big as the Nest Hub, right? It probably is even bigger than the Nest Hub at that aspect ratio.
The one you have in your kitchen, yeah.
But it's funny because I have the OnePlus wireless charging stand, and that I have on my nightstand. And hell, man, I'll throw that right out and replace it with this. I won't throw it out, but this is awesome.
Is that the one with the fan in it?
No, it's the older one.
Okay, because the fan is very loud.
Yeah,
so I was gonna say this one is probably quieter.
Yep, I should hope so.
Yeah, and as you can see, if you're watching the video feed, the puck, like it's actually you take the Pixelsnap charger and it basically attaches to the stand.
Yeah.
So like they can detach from each other, and then you can use the charger separately You know, you don't have to keep it with the dock if you want to take it traveling with you.
Yep.
Next up, you have the Pixelsnap ring stand, which is a magnetic grip and stand combo that is basically like it's like a, what are those called? O-Snap, you know, like those pop sockets on the back. This basically allows it to hold up. You can magnetically attach it to the back, and you pop up the ring, and then you can have the ring prop the device up on a table. This costs $29.99. I don't know if you trust it.
How much was that?
Yeah.
Is it? It's $29.99. $30. Yeah, that's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. It doesn't do anything. It's just a magnet to a ring.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Ron, pop sockets cost like $25.
And how many pop sockets have you ever seen me use?
I have 5 right here. That I switch
to each their own. To each their own. Yep.
So.
Yep.
And then there's also the Pixelsnap cases. These are official cases that start at $50, and they allow you to use any Pixelsnap accessory without having to take off the case. So the cases also have the built-in magnet, so you know, use whatever other accessory that you want on your Pixel 10 device. And these come in a variety of colors that match the Pixel 10 models that they're for. So you have Moonstone, Jade, Obsidian, Porcelain, Indigo, Frost, and Lemongrass as, you know, for the different various devices. And then finally, this is not a Pixelsnap accessory, but it is an accessory for the Pixel 10 series. This is the Pixel Flex Dual Port 67-watt USB-C fast charger. Now that's a mouthful. This is a dual port charger that uses a proprietary algorithm to charge your Pixel phone at the fastest speed that's available for it, while being able to charge a secondary device at the same time.
And it's funny because so our audio listeners on the video, we put together a little slideshow of all the images Google gave us, and I did it, and I was cursing myself earlier because I can't believe I'm making a slide with a plug. But I will give it credit, you know, having 2 USB-C ports and being able to charge multiple devices off one plug, that's pretty handy. So
it certainly looks like a charger of all time.
Yeah.
It's certainly a charger.
It's a hunk of charger right there for sure. Yeah. So those are neat. I didn't put any images of the cases because I said I drew the line at putting pictures of cases up.
You know what? I gotta tell you guys, before we even had this show that we were going to record, I started getting advertisements from AliExpress for Pixel 10 cases. So the aftermarket of stuff is already ready for you. Not sure what it's going to perform like. I will say, in addition to that stuff, we also got, I mean, the halo effect of this event is larger than I feel like previous years. I know several of the carriers reached out to us to let us know about their deals. We heard from folks at AT&T. We heard from folks at Verizon. You know, they've all got deals related to the Pixel rollout. If you're a customer of those carriers, go check them out. Go to Verizon, go to AT&T, see what deals they have on the phones, as well as whatever, you know, kind of bundles or things like that. But it seems like Google has created a little moment out of today with this event, maybe more so than do my trade-in
last year. Yeah, we'll see. So
I'm gonna do my trade-in as soon as the event is over and done.
Yeah.
So
and it's a good thing that they made a moment out of this event because they have a plug to sell, and everyone's gonna want to buy this dual plug thing. Yes. So there you go.
They have a plug to sell, and it's not Jimmy Fallon.
Waka waka. Well, we're gonna get to that at the end of this, but yeah. So all right. Well, there's still more.
Well, the Pixel Watch 4 is hoping to be a very different watch from the last couple of watches. So much so that it's introducing a new domed Actua 360 display. That was really the big thing. Also, really big thing here, which is going to compete with the Apple Watch, is satellite communication. So I know everybody wants me to talk about Gemini on the Pixel Watches. I'm probably going to skip over that because I'm going to tell you
everyone
avoiding it. I'm avoiding it on every single watch that I have right now. And we're still working with the Samsung watch over here. I've still got that review coming and I'm scared of it. But the satellite communication support is exciting because the Pixel Watch is already so good at kind of like the personal safety thing. The fall detection is really great on it. It's perhaps too great. And now that it has satellite communication, this makes it almost an ultra like smartwatch for Google, which is not actually making an ultra smartwatch. Material 3D Expressive obviously is going to be a very big part of this. There's a 15% stronger haptic engine. Now, the Pixel Watch already has my favorite haptic engine in the 3rd generation, so I'm very excited to see if this 4th generation is just going to get me going. Love. Okay. Anyway, also 25% longer battery life. So Google's saying 30 hours on the 41 millimeter size and then 40 hours on the 45 millimeter size. And of course, there's the battery saver mode, which they say extends out to 2 to 3 days. OnePlus watch, the one that I'm wearing, still goes a little bit longer in its power saving mode. So
a little bit longer?
Pretty good.
A lot longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot longer.
Yeah.
Yes. Like a week, nearly 10 days. I've gotten quite a bit out of this watch. And of course it's durable, water resistant up to 50 meters. And then there is one caveat about that satellite communication. For those of you who want to go out and, I might have to I think I'm going to go out and trade in my Pixel Watch 3. The Pixel Watch 4 LTE is the one with the satellite communication in it. So even if you're not going to buy that extra $10 a month for the number on a smartwatch, you'll still want to get the LTE version so that you can get that satellite capability when you're out in the middle of nowhere. I think I might be doing that myself.
Yeah, and you don't need a subscription for it either.
Yeah.
I think it's free for 2 years, they said.
Yeah. Which will be, you can use it to communicate with smart replies, AI-powered responses over satellite, which is helpful. It's starting, the 41 millimeter is going to start at $350 and then $450 for the LTE. And then the 45 millimeter starts at $400 and $500 for LTE. And then they are going to be available in colors that will complement your new Pixel 10. So,
oh my God, there were so many watch band combinations between, like, there's the, that comes with the standard Google, whatever the rubbery kind of watch band is, but they, you can swap it out to the metal, the metal watch band, but then they've got all these fabric combinations and things like that. Literally, no joke. The batch of images we got, there was over 200 images of different combinations of these watches and all these watch bands to sort through. So if you're into watches, go online. I'm sure there's somewhere you can find all the different variations and things like that. It was bananas. But yeah,
it is bananas. I also want to say, obviously, there are some new features with Fitbit and with health. We don't have time to get into it right now, but that is something that you will see covered over at androidfaithful.com. I actually have all these smartwatches here because I am doing some testing. So stay tuned for that after we get through phone season. Oh my God, phone season.
So overall, though, do you think the Pixel Watch 4, upgrade over the 3? Do you think that they delivered?
I don't think it's a major upgrade. I don't think anybody should rush out and upgrade to this, but I will upgrade because I want to.
Right. It's a next iteration. It's not really groundbreaking or any in that regard.
Well, it depends on what you're upgrading from.
Depends on what. True. Yeah. Right. It always depends on what you're upgrading
from. The one,
first
definitely.
Gen, obviously.
Yeah.
2 arguable, 3 no.
Got it.
Yeah.
But you want those AI powered smart replies though, right? Isn't that the draw?
I have ignored that on my Galaxy Watch. It generates so many replies and none of them are useful. I'm just going to pull my phone out and just type something custom, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to let an AI reply for me.
And why can't the AI then read your reply and start to learn how you reply to things? Don't get me started. Anyway, so all right, so that's it on the watches, and then of course we have the buds.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so the Pixel Buds 2a, this is the next generation of the A series buds. We haven't had one for a while. This is completely redesigned. It ditches the old wingtips for stabilizers with added cutouts. It looks a lot more similar to the Pixel Buds Pro 2 than the original A series buds. It also has some other upgrades. That has a IP54 rating on the buds, IPX4 rating on the case. It has ANC now, which the original did not.
Yep.
It also has transparency mode. It also has spatial audio, but without head tracking. Multi-point connectivity is also another big upgrade. Google's Tensor A1 processor for audio processing is now included, which was first launched in the Buds Pro 2. And now you have Gemini support, which is also another Buds Pro 2 feature. Find Up support also is available on these buds. And the battery life has been improved. Now you have up to 10 hours of listening without ANC versus 5 hours on the previous model. And if you have ANC turned on, you get 7 hours of listening time. With the case, you get 27 hours total without ANC, 20 hours total with ANC. So that's also an improvement. In terms of charging, unfortunately, you're not getting Qi wireless charging support. It's only wired charging for the case. But for the more budget-friendly buds, there's not a lot of more budget-friendly buds that have wireless charging support. In terms of colors, you have two options. You have Iris and Hazel. And if you are looking to buy these, you will have to wait a while, unfortunately, because
Again,
they go on pre-order today, but they will not be generally available until October 9th, which is the same time as a Pixel 10 Pro Fold. And if you do want to buy them, they are $129. So there are certainly cheaper options if you're looking for new earbuds. But if you want earbuds with the Google premium features, you're not going to find a cheaper option than these.
Yeah, and that's the thing to note again with the availability. Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, all available in August. Pixel 10 Pro Fold, Pixel Watches, Pixel Buds, all in October. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
I do like the color. I don't like the buds. I don't like the things in my ear, but I like the purple color here. Whatever this color is, I like it. So.
I gotta tell you guys, this is another review for Android Faithful I gotta do. But after switching the open earbuds, the Moto Loops.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if I like anything in my ear anymore.
I still love my nothing open ear ones. They're fantastic. Yeah. I'm anti things in the ear. Don't like it. Yeah. Don't like it. So.
I will say though, this is going to be great for Google to compete because as we get further in the show, we're going to talk a little bit about some new buds that have also come from a partner of the Android community. But of course, this follows in line with the AirPods, since the AirPods got the ANC and they got some of those premium feature in them. And so now the Buds Pro 2A, the Buds 2A can too.
The 2A, the Buds 2A, and then Mishaal, what's up with the Pro 2?
The Pro 2, they were already released a while ago, last year, but they're getting a new color. They're coming in Moonstone now. And then Google's also rolling out a new software update in September. Mm-hmm. The update adds a bunch of features like you get notifications when your case is fully charged or it's low on battery. They're also adding Gemini Live support. They're adding a new adaptive audio feature that automatically adjusts the volume depending on your environment. Loud noise protection, the ability to answer calls or text messages by nodding or shaking your head. And then finally, they're making some kind of general improvements to allow you to talk to Gemini even in loud environments.
Yep. So there it is. So that's everything that's been announced today by Google. And that at this point, in about 12 minutes, will be shared by Jimmy Fallon, the Jonas Brothers, Steph Curry, and other folks. So they're doing this big show in New York City. Clearly, we are not there. We attended the event last year in California, which is awesome. We love it when Google invites us to these events. We're just as curious as all you are what this event is going to be. I'm getting a lot more cringy Samsung vibes with what they're doing with this event and trying to reach a general audience by having Jimmy Fallon host it and having throwing all the celebrity stuff at it. They're trying to make a power play, I think, in some regard with the show. So we'll see if it pays off. I'm, like I said, just as curious as probably all of you listening are as to what the show is going to be. So tune in 11 minutes to the Daily Tech News Show YouTube channel or Twitch channel to watch it live. And if you don't catch it live, go over to our Patreon where you can check the after hours and you hear me, Flo, and a special guest reacting to it live. But right now, Flo and Mishaal, if you had to guess what we're going to see, or you have to guess whether it's going to be cringe or good, what are your expectations for the show? For the Made by Google presentation.
Go ahead, Mishaal.
Yeah, I expect a lot of cringe. I mean, they're basically, this is celebrity star. A lot of these people are probably daily driving iPhones. They don't care about the Pixel, and they're probably going to pretend to care about it
really
for
frustrating.
the hour. Yeah.
And Jimmy Fallon's not going to be,
Yeah. They're probably not going to show the you're not going to feel the enthusiasm from them, in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, they're getting paid to be enthusiastic, and Lord knows Jimmy Fallon knows how to turn.
They're getting paid a buttload of money to be there.
Turned on the enthusiasm. I'm really curious where it's going to be too. If it's going to be at one of Google's offices, or if they got a venue, or where. I don't know. There's so many questions, but good
My
job.
understanding is it's in Brooklyn.
Oh, so it's in Brooklyn. Oh, interesting. So we'll see. All right. So we're going to take a quick break. Take a quick break from Google, and when we come back, other stuff happens in the world of Android, and we're going to dive into that. So. Yep. All right, so non-Google related news. Well, that is Google related. What am I talking about? Non-made by Google related, non-Pixel related. So, Mishaal, what's going on with the next Android release?
So, as I talked about last week, I started a new newsletter that kind of reveals the inner workings of what's happening in Android. And my latest edition over the weekend talks about what to expect in Android 16 QPR2. This is going to be the big December Android release for reference. And this update will bring a couple of notable features. The first one being the ability for AI agents like Gemini to control other applications. This is something Google's been working on for a while. But for those of you who know, Gemini right now, it has extensions, or they now call them apps, that allow you to tap into other third-party services. The problem is it's kind of not really scalable, because like for every single app that you want Gemini to integrate with, both Google and the third-party provider, they need to work on some kind of integration. Well, Google's working on some standardized way to enable app developers to expose the functions that they want assistants like Gemini to be able to activate. And this would basically to allow Gemini to become an AI agent, which is like the hottest buzzword of 2024.
Agentic.
It's still agentic AI, yeah.
Yep.
It looks like this is the release, Android 16 QPR2. This is going to be the release where we'll probably see Google finally start talking about this feature in more detail. Another feature, this will delight parents, at least some parents and households. So, for parental controls, if you want to control what happens on your child's device, you can use Google Family Link. Now, if you're like a traditional nuclear family, husband, wife, husband, whatever your setup is, if you live together, you're both in charge, you're in sync with how you want to manage your child's device. You install Family Link, and then you set it up on your child's device. And then you manage all the settings from one parent's device, or the other parent's device. And if you want to change settings from the child's device, then you have to input one of the parents' Google account passwords. That's kind of cumbersome, and it doesn't really work well for mixed family households, or or households where you have divorced parents separated. If you don't want to share your Google account password with the other person in a situation like that. Instead, what this new feature will allow you to set up local supervision controls, where you take the child's device and you can set up a PIN that is unique to that device, and it allows you to change a lot of the settings that currently require Google account password, such as app limits, such as the daily screen limit. A lot of these things you can now do locally with just a PIN instead of a Google account password.
I'm into this.
And this will allow a lot easier for not just the parents, but also other trusted guardians like grandparents or babysitters,
aunts and uncles, or like exactly. You
just gotta share a PIN, which is much easier and safer to do than sharing a Google account password.
Yep. Very cool.
And then lastly, the last feature is an upgrade to ultra wideband. Google's introducing support for ultra wideband version 3.0, which is going to open up new use cases such as digital payments, new transit options, and etc. Like it's basically just a spec upgrade that improves how it handles data transfers, how it handles security, and just in general like improves the viability of ultra wideband.
Very cool. So when is this all coming out? What's any idea?
December.
On...
This is the big December update that Google's working on.
Merry Christmas a few months from now.
Happy holidays, Flo. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Mishaal, as always, for the breakdown of that. So moving away from Google for a minute and talking about our two other favorite smartphone manufacturers, Samsung and Apple. We love to talk about numbers here, and we love to talk about market share. And we did have, coming out of the big Samsung Galaxy Unpacked this past July, the latest market share numbers show that Samsung is kind of knocking on the door of Apple, and that's getting attributed to foldables getting some momentum in the marketplace, which is interesting. So in the second quarter, shipments from Samsung in the U.S. rose from 23% to 31%. And this is based on data from can never pronounce this, Canalys. Now, that said, the new phones came out. Of course they increased, right? Like, this is like, you release new stuff, of course you're going to see an increase, especially this stuff. But the question is, how dramatic is that increase going to be? And it's generally safe to say that Galaxy Unpacked was a success for Samsung, and that the Z Fold and the Z Flip series were received positively, both, critically as well as in the marketplace. And these numbers kind of back that up here. And analysts say that, Apple's kind of, on their heels now and catching up with these new form factors. And as we all know, there's a lot of speculation that there's going to be a slimmer iPhone and possibly a foldable in 2026. But, pointing to the fact that what's interesting is that in the broad world of smartphone business analysis, it's not so much Android versus Apple, it's Samsung versus Apple, right? Like, this article here in CNBC isn't talking about Google's announcing new phones. Like, there's no even mention of it, right? But we'll see, but the big thing is, at least in terms of analyst point of view, that foldables, it only took 7 generations within the world of Samsung for foldables to have their moment. But it's good to see, so.
Which is exactly why Apple's shifting focus and deciding, actually, we're going to do a foldable. Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what Apple's take on foldables. I think it's going to be a very interesting couple of years coming up. So at least we have stuff to look forward to while the world around us is crumbling. Yeah. Well, speaking of Samsung, Flo, you had some news that came out. Yep. Yeah. So as I teased, this week, Samsung announced the Galaxy Buds 3 FE. That's the fan edition. And just like the Pixel Buds 2A, my goodness, so many model numbers. These have got ANC at a really nice entry price point, $150. The only thing about them, though, is that they take after last year's Galaxy Buds 3. So if you are not into the model change that happened last year, the triangular sort of stick out buds that Samsung switched to, then maybe this might be kind of a bummer to you but it was a bummer anyway, Samsung moving away from the bud. Same triangular edge design, matte dual tone finish, the charging cradle is transparent on top. It comes in 2 colors, a black and a grayish white. The earbuds themselves are IP54 rated for dust and water resistance, which could be worse at that price point. And the buds also offer enhanced ANC, which is a Samsung specific feature, and crystal clear call technology, which is basically Samsung's version of the Pixel Buds' clear calling. Something to really know about these buds is that they're going to work best with other Samsung devices. So there's a lot to them that is going to be exclusive, including the fact that they are only on Samsung's proprietary Find My network. So
it pays to be in the ecosystem, right? So.
I mean, Samsung will make it worth your while for $150. Regardless, it's good to see more of this affordable ANC. Thanks Apple for putting it in the AirPods, because now everybody else was like, ugh. By the way, if you are looking for any other buds that maybe have ANC in them as well, don't forget that OnePlus put these out a couple months ago. These are the OnePlus Buds 4. And they're also pointy.
Pointy buds. So, pointy buds. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that was the bit of the news and a little bit of hardware that came out this week. We're going to take another quick break, and we come back. We got some app news, and then we will wrap this sucker up in this crazy Made by Google week. All right. So next up, back to the world of Google, somewhat related to what's been going on. Mishaal, what are calling cards?
So if you've ever wanted to be the ability to set giant incoming call portraits for your select contacts, this is the feature for you.
Speaking of iPhones, right?
Speaking of iPhones, yeah. Although iPhones is kind of you set your own contact information, you set your own profile picture, and then it shows up whenever you call other people. This is a little bit different because you got to manually set the picture for other contacts, and then when you receive a call from them, you'll see that photo that you set for them. So it is a bit more manual and it's less scalable because you got to rely on your contacts. One, actually setting, you got to rely on yourself having a profile photo that you set for specific contacts that you want to receive calls for, and you want to see this picture when you receive calls from them. And two, you got to use the Google Phone app because this is a feature that's only available in the Google Phone app. But if you do that, then you can take advantage of the new calling contacts feature, the calling cards feature, which has been rolling out to a couple of users.
I just got it
last week,
and I just set it up for my husband. And as you can see, I set up a picture of him washing my car because this is when I love him the most, is when he does things like this for me, washing my car.
That's very nice.
So power washing it even, so it doesn't scratch.
I did not get it yet. I've been checking because I want to make a silly photo.
Be very curious to see what pictures you put.
Yeah, I keep checking and I just don't have it. So
I just do not understand why they're doing this manually. Like, it even integrates with Google Contacts. Like, you can set a calling card from within Google Contacts for a contact. Like, why don't they just take whatever profile picture you set in Google Contacts in your Google account, and maybe allow you to add like your own calling card to Google Contacts, and then pull that from Google Contacts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's because of cross competition though. Like maybe there's other manufacturers, they want to have control over that part of the dialer or something of the sort.
But like, this is the Google Phone app. You have to have the Google Phone app.
Yeah.
This is the Google's dialer, right?
Maybe it's not ready.
Hopefully they change it. Hopefully they make it so you don't have to actually manually add photos for every single contact that you want to see this for.
Now I'm just going through the settings and contacts and changing things on my wife, like what the ringtone is and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah.
I haven't heard one of those in a while.
I mean, which is funny. You know, it's so funny because I used to curate everyone's ringtone to like a song, to who they were and all that sort of stuff, and I just don't do it anymore. But anyway, I mean, this is cool, but is this something that's been on the iPhone for years? Right? Like, it's been on forever, right? The full screen.
With iPhone, it's between devices.
Yeah.
So, like,
right.
you could set it up for when I call my friends, I have a crazy memoji.
Yeah. It's fascinating. But yeah, it's cool. I don't know. That's neat. Yeah. Good stuff. All right.
What else is neat?
What else is neat, Flo?
You can now talk to Gemini without it remembering your conversation, thank God, because last week, I feel like Google just launched this in response to me and my personal problems. This always happens. So, last week I had to do an incognito chat with Gemini, and when you do that, it limits you to Gemini Flash, which means, you're not getting the full experience or whatever. But now you can have a conversation with Gemini logged in, and you could set a temporary chat so that it deletes after 72 hours. This rolled out with the news that Google basically made Gemini a little more a little more contextual, with it remembering other conversations that you've had with it. So, if you had like a convo about, I don't know, cooking over here, and then maybe you're asking about like dating, let's say theoretically, it could be like, hey, remember when you asked me about cooking? You could make that thing. I don't know if that's what Gemini is going to do, but if AI works like that, I would program it to do that. Regardless, the good thing to know is that now you can have a temporary chat with Gemini when you just need to know something without having it like be on the record. I think this is Gemini, or your version of off the record with Gemini. Just remember to say it first.
I mean, it's interesting because you've got all these models, and you've got ChatGPT, and you've got, obviously Claude and all this sort of stuff, and these other things that are going on. And it's almost like this battle of feature parity and then also feature leading, right? Of being able to, because the memory aspect of it does drive me nuts. I was talking about this with my wife the other day because she's using Claude for her writing. She was using it to get like feedback. Mm-hmm. She was writing something, give me feedback on something, like, and then she went and did another one and she referenced the previous thing, and Claude was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember these chats.
Gemini's a lot better at that, which is why I exclusively use Gemini, also because I pay for it with my Google One account.
Right.
So I want to get the full use out of it. But
Right.
I like that it has all those, like, that's what makes it helpful to me. That's what makes it a utility.
Right.
But you can still incognito if you're having like.
Well, yeah. I mean, for the
asking about like.
for the same reason why we go incognito for searches that we don't want to be in our search history for whatever reasons we might have. There might be things that you want to talk to the AI about that you don't want to have in your AI history.
Sometimes you want to look up cannibalism.
You know what? I mean,
okay, we're all curious.
I want to use incognito mode for something lawless and nefarious, and it's just like I want incognito to be the default when I invoke Gemini using my voice, because like 99% of the time when I'm asking it to do something via voice, it's like add something to the shopping list. What's the weather? I don't want that clogging up on my history.
And then
like,
it adds
every
it
single
to
time
the
it adds to your
sidebar.
little sidebar. I'm like, why do I need that added to my history?
I will say,
weather.
And I will say, I will give ChatGPT credit due versus Gemini because I use both, right? And ChatGPT's ability for you to create folders and store chats in an organization kind of thing, I desperately want that in Gemini because I did something in Gemini like 2 months ago, and then I literally earlier today, I'm like, oh, I need to reference that. And they have the search function, but it took me 15 minutes to go find the old chat from the thing because it was so much crap in there. And there's got to be a way to better organize your previous chats or do something like that. And maybe there is. I just haven't played with it. We should do a deeper dive with Gemini and Google to find out some of this stuff.
Integrated with Google Drive, and like each chat was like a document.
Yeah, or at least be able to tag it or categorize it or give it a context or tell Gemini, hey, all of those chats I did with you about those topics, bundle those into that cloud, into this grouping.
All those times I asked you to vibe code for me, I need you to put it into a special vibe code folder. We only touch it on the weekends. Here's
my problem with vibe code. Just come up with another name. The term vibe code makes me not want to do it.
You know what? I think it's a cultural difference. I think.
Oh, it's such a cultural difference. Yeah, but someone older than me was like, "Oh, I vibe coded this desktop app," and I was like, "Oh." Anyway, so all right. Speaking of vibe coding or not, our last story here has to do with Google and pretty much amping up Google Translate. So much so that if you ever want to learn a language and you didn't want to use Duolingo, now you can go to Google Translate. So it looks as if Google Translate is through an APK teardown over at our friends at Android Authority, introducing a practice feature that's pretty much going to rival Duolingo and give you a platform to help not only translate other languages but learn other languages. Which is pretty impressive. And language learning has become such a, everybody loves Duolingo and has become such a hot, kind of application category in this place. And here you can see in the video that we're watching for our video viewers, for our audio listeners, it's the Google Translate application in process that introducing a beta version of Practice French. We're giving you a bunch of modules where you can practice and introducing goals, and it customizes your experience and gives you daily activities and keeps track of the number of words that you've practiced and gives you scenarios to go through, like giving your name at a reception, and you can listen to it and then you say it, and then it puts together the activity for you and then you do it. And it's a great way to learn. And it's pretty much Google, going right after Duolingo. So there you go.
Which is good because people are really upset at Duolingo saying that they're going to replace their human language programmers with AI. Yep. And so, like, if you're gonna, if you're gonna,
it's funny you say that. I don't think people who are upset at Duolingo for the AI thing would go to Google Translate, which is very heavily leaning on AI for its.
You know what I was gonna say? I know what you're gonna say, Mishaal. And I was going to say afterwards. I was going to say that way you might as well just go do it through Google.
Although I will say, like, for people who don't dislike Duolingo because of how gamified it is, I don't know. I don't use Duolingo, but it kind of feels to me that a lot of people who use it kind of just use it just to keep their streak up rather than actually using it to learn a language.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
Yeah, it's the gamification aspect of it, right? Yeah. So anyway.
And like, if you just want to learn a language, maybe this will be more helpful.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
I know just enough.
It'll be a good utility. I think this is something you could use on the plane ride to España. You're brushing up on your elementary Spanish. so you can get a taxi.
I know just enough Italian to get around, and I'm good. So my middle school and high school.
You're going to have to practice it. You have to loosen your tongue.
Yeah, I know. Roll the R. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. Obviously, so much going on in the world of Made by Google. But thank you, Mishaal and Flo, for helping us guide it through. Mishaal, anything you want to tell the folks about Android Authority podcast? That I guess that in your newsletter, that's your big thing, right?
Yeah, subscribe to the Android Authority podcast and the Android Authority newsletter, the Authority Insights podcast and the Authority Insights newsletter.
All right. And Flo, how about you? I assume Android Faithful newsletter. Go sign up, right?
Yes, please sign up for the Android Faithful newsletter. Also, FlorenceIon.com. You can come join my Discord. And don't forget that I also do a podcast with Andy and Nako every week about Google called Material on the Relay Network. So if you want to check that out, relay.fm/material.
Yes.
It's going to be a big week.
And last but not least, reminder to go over to patreon.com/AndroidFaithful and sign up there and go. You can check out the VOD of this week's Android Faithful After Hours, where Flo and me and a special guest will be watching the Made by Google event live stream live and commenting on it and probably snickering at Jimmy Fallon and cringing at the jokes and things like that.
Definitely snickering at Jimmy Fallon. Sorry.
So it'll be a good time. And reminder, stay tuned to your feed and to AndroidFaithful.com and to Patreon.com/AndroidFaithful this week for our exclusive behind-the-scenes look at Material 3 Expressive, as Mishaal and I had a great conversation with Mindy Brooks. Really excited for everyone to see that. And we'll talk more about that on the show next week. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Happy Made by Google to you. And we'll see you next week. Always a pleasure.
Get your rest, everyone. Bye.
Indeed. Have a good time.